How are we doing on health potions?
That is so. How can I argue with that?
No, thanks. I'll manage.
How can I argue with that?
Huh?
How can I argue with that? You dirty...
To see...
Hello, Galesse.
Hey, you. Let's get together for a drink sometime.
It is so.
You dirty thief! You dirty thief! That is so.
You speak the truth.
Yeah.
Indeed.
You won't even live to regret this!
You dirty thief!
Changes what happens. That can be a big advantage.
You dirty thief!
Yeah.
Quite a few beggars here in Riften. I'd like to feel bad, but they don't do nothing. Just sit on the ground and beg. Lazy fucks.
I'm glad you're here. I think some of these people are beginning to suspect who I am. Are you ready to face the guild?
Indeed.
Then we show them Gales's journal and hope for the best. Remember, we
So
have
how did
proof
these
that all he's got
graders
is his
know you
word.
absorb power from a dragon? If they're way up in the mountains...
Keep your eyes open. I'm not sure what to expect when we enter the cistern.
Don't trust a fucking person down here.
Not my problem.
Not exactly.
How can I argue with that?
You expect me to believe that?
Nothing you can do.
You better have a damn good reason to be here with that murderer.
Please, lower your weapons so we can speak. I have proof that you've all been misled.
No tricks, Carlia.
Is stealing so much fun that living in a smelly shithole like this is worth it?
I have Gales's journal. I think you'll find its contents disturbing.
Let me see. No, it can't be. This can't be true.
So this is the meeting place of the lowlifes of Riften.
Every word. Mercer's been stealing from the guild for years, right under your noses.
There's only one way to find out if what the lass says is true. Delvin, I'll need you to open the vault.
Wait just a blessed moment, friend. What's in that book? What did it say?
It says Mercer's been stealing from a vault for years.
All right.
Galesse was looking into it before he was murdered.
How can Mercer open up a vault that needs 2 keys? It's impossible. Could he pick his way in?
The door has the best puzzle locks.
It would
known to
seem
buy.
so.
There's no way it can be picked up.
You didn't need to pick
What's she on about?
Use your key on the vault, Delvin. We'll open it up and find out the truth.
All right.
I've used my key, but the vault's still locked up tighter than a drum. Now use yours.
It's gone.
Nothing you can do.
Get in here, all of you.
The gold. It's yours. It's all
All
gone.
right.
Son of a bitch. I'll kill him.
Vex, put it away, right now. We can't afford to lose our heads. We need to calm down
That's your
and
problem,
focus.
not mine.
Do what he says, Vex. This ain't helping right now.
Fine. We do it your way. For now.
Delvin, Vex, watch the
All
flag.
right.
If you see Mercer, come tell me right away.
Not exactly.
Read your fight. What he guess? He just plucked you off the street and dropped you into the thick of things without telling you which way is up. Am I right?
Nothing you can do.
Look, before I help you track Mercer down, I need to know what you learned from Carlia. I mean, everything.
It would seem so.
I feared that was the case. From that last entry in Gales's diary, it looks like he was getting close to exposing Mercer to the guild. Anything else?
Not exactly.
Trying to make Mercer look bad in front of Maven, eh? Clever lass. Was there anything else? What? Nightingales? But I always assumed they were just a tale. A way to keep the young footpads in line. Was there anything else she told you? Then I have an important task for you. I need you to break into Mercer's home and search for anything that could tell us where he's gone. Aye. A gift from the Blackbriars after they kicked the previous family out. A place called Riftweald Manor. He never stays there. Just pays for the upkeep on it. Hired some lout by the name of Vold to guard the place. Be careful, lass. This is the last place in Skyrim I'd ever want to send you. Just find a way in, get the information and leave. And you have permission to kill anyone that stands in your way.
Nothing you can do.
Good question. I've only set foot inside a few times myself, and that was in Mercer's company. If you can get past his trained watchdog. I think your best bet might be the ramp to the second-floor balcony in his backyard. No. It's some sort of crazy contraption Mercer commissioned for quick escapes.
It would seem
I'd
so.
wager a well-placed shot at the ramp's mechanism would lure it in a hurry. Better question would be, what did he leave? Mercer took everything. Even all of our plans are gone. Before Mercer took over, Galesse started collecting every bit of material he could on locations the Guild could heist. Museums, keeps, estates, you name it. By the time Mercer took over the Guild, we must have had a few dozen.
I'll manage.
I don't have a clue. That door is impenetrable. Without 2 keys, it's impossible to open. I have a key, Delvin has a key, and Mercer has a key. That's it. There are no other copies.
All right.
Huh. That'd be Bald. A real piece of work, that one. Mercer's holding something over his head, keeping him loyal.
It would seem
Talk to
so.
Vex. She used to know him very well, if you catch my meaning. Careful at Mercer's place. I don't want to lose anyone else at that madman.
All right.
I'm relieved Brynjolf has an open mind with that forgotten blood. How can I help? How can I help? What?
Let's go. I think you just like looking through my stuff. All right.
How can I help?
You need something from me? I understand. All right. Not exactly.
What are you doing that for?
Before we begin, I want to make two things perfectly clear. One, I'm the best infiltrator this rat hole of a guild's got. So if you think you're here to replace me, you're dead wrong. And two, you follow my lead and do exactly as I say. No questions, no excuses.
It would seem so.
Now you I like. I've been getting sick of the pushovers that usually walk in here. I think you and I are gonna get along just fine. Now it's time to get your feet wet, and I don't want to waste a lot of time talking about anything but business. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it for you. We're in a bad way down here. Who knows? Old Delvin thinks it's some kind of curse. I think he's crazy. If you want my opinion, I'd say it's just plain old bad luck. You can get out there and start making a name for us again. Make them start fearing us like they did long ago. And while you're at it, make a little bit of coin on the side. Not a bad deal, eh?
A little coin always greases the wheels.
How can I argue with that?
That pig? Oh, I have info on him. More than you care to know.
Argue with that.
Vald? Good side? Think you have the wrong person. The only thing Vald understands is gold. A man after my own heart. Sure, but he'll ask for a whole lot. I mean, you are asking him to betray Mercer Frey. Your best bet would be to erase his debt with Maven Blackbriar. If you talk to her, she might be able to give you the details. Of course, you could just run him through and take what you need off his corpse. I could care less. While you're in there, help yourself to anything in Frey's manor.
But that last shipment of scuba was some of the best quality I've seen in years.
It's one thing to say you've got the skills.
Lucky is all. Bumped into someone
It's
who
another
knew
to
someone
actually
else.
use them.
The rest just writes itself.
Well, if you like, I'd be happy to take over the operation for you.
To believe that.
Take the sword.
They dare Mercer to come back here. Said...
Would that be so?
What manner of magic is this?
Money's on the beat.
Gods, no! What manner of magic is this?
Coin always greases the wheels.
We're routed! Fall back!
How can I argue with that? How can I argue with that?
けられる？
How can I argue with that?
You expect me to believe that?
Retire someday. Get myself an island.
How can I argue with that?
It can't be helped. What was that? I guess just hearing things.
How can I argue with that?
You expect me to believe that?
Huh?
How can I argue with that?
That can't be helped.
Nah, I don't think so.
A little coin always...
It
the
would
wheel.
seem. So,
Yeah.
That is so. Not my problem.
quite a few beggars here in Riften. I'd like to feel bad, but they don't do nothing. Just nothing. Grounded bay. Lazy fucks.
We've scoured the town and I've spoken to every contact we have left. No sign of Mercer. Any luck on your end? Shore's beard. He's going after the eyes of the Falmer? That was Gales's pet project. If he gets his hands on them, you can be certain
So how
he'll
did
be
these
gone for
breeders
good.
know you
And
absorb
set
power
up for
from the
life.
cavern? If they're way up in the mountains.
Agreed. He's taken everything the guild has left, and to go after one of the last greatest heists is just an insult. I've spoken to Carlia and made amends for how the guild's treated her. Now she
Sometimes
wishes
I
to speak
question
with
my
both of
ideas.
us. Quickly. We have no time to lose. Until next we meet, lads.
How can I argue with that?
It would seem so.
believe that? Not now, lass. Carlia said it was important.
How can I argue with that? I don't think so.
Is stealing so much fun that
Time
living
has
in a
come to
smelly
decide
shithole like
Mercer's
this is
fate.
would?
Until a new guildmaster is chosen, the decision falls to you.
Aye, lass. But I've come to a decision. Mercer's friend tried to kill both of you. He betrayed the guild, murdered Galesse, and made us question our future. He needs to die.
You have to be very careful, Greenleaf. Mercer is a Nightingale, an agent of
Can I argue with
Nocturnal.
that?
It's all true. Everything I heard in the stories. The Nightingales, their allegiance to Nocturnal, and the Twilight Sepulchre.
That's why we need to prepare ourselves and meet Mercer on equal footing, just outside of Riften. Beyond the southeast gate is a small path cut up the
Can I argue
mountains.
with that?
At the end of that path is a clearing and an old standing stone. I'd ask you both to meet me there.
Enough.
I'm preparing to leave for the standing stone. What is it?
You expect me to believe that? I don't think so.
I'm preparing to leave for the standing stone. What is it?
Not my problem to believe. How can I argue with that?
Something you've been meaning to say to me?
How can I argue with that?
I don't think so.
I think you just like looking through my stuff.
If it's enough.
How can I argue? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
How can I argue?
That is so.
Indeed.
How can I argue with that?
Not my problem.
Nah, I don't think so. How... can I argue with that?
A little coin always misses the things. I'm staying out of this. I'm getting out of here. How can I argue with that?
Seems so. You expect me to believe that?
Nah, I don't think so. It can't be helped.
How can I argue with that?
It speaks truthfully.
It would seem so.
Nah, I don't think so.
How can I argue with that?
It can't be helped. It speaks truthfully. How can I argue with that?
That is so.
It can't be helped.
How can I argue with that? You expect me to believe that?
Nah, I don't think so.
How can I argue with that?
Nah, I
Not
don't
my
think so.
problem. How can I argue with that?
Not my problem.
It can't be helped. Can't be helped. Can't be.
How can I argue with that?
No, I don't think so.
You expect me to believe that?
How can I argue with that?
How can I argue with that?
You expect me to believe
Need
that?
something?
How can I argue with that?
I think you just like looking through my stuff.
It can't be helped.
どこへ行くの？I'm glad you're here.
I know that everyone has this right to be stupid, but, well, it seems
This
that Ulfric
is the
somehow
headquarters
abusing
of the
that privilege.
Nightingales, cut into the mountainside by the first of our kind. We've come to seek the edge we need to defeat Mercer Frey. If you'll follow
can
me,
smell the blood
I'll try
that
to
is dried
explain
on
on
my
the
armor.
way.
We should gather some Jazz Bay grapes and make some wine while we are in the rift.
You've grown into a beautiful woman, Galesse. It's good to finally meet you face to face, now that you're well.
I've heard the stories of what you did to help me, and as much as it's appreciated, I would still like to know your reasoning behind it.
The short answer is truly simple. I was protecting a gift given to your father years back.
What gift are you talking about?
My mother was a gifted thief and a nightingale. As I was coming into womanhood, she began to train me with her skills. We were lifting a sword from a shut-cord blade in Song, in Woodhearth. On our way out, I had tripped over some steel swords leaning against the wall, and woke the blacksmith from his sleep. He screamed for help from his bedroom window, and the guards were on us quickly. My mother tried sticking to the shadows, but it became difficult when she has me in tow. Right before we reached the protection of the forest, an arrow lodged into my mother's leg. She reached down and snapped the arrow off so we could keep moving, and we found a place to hide as everything settled down. By morning my mother's leg was already swollen, and her wound looked angry. A sweat was breaking on my mother's forehead. She told me I needed to try and find her some... So I ran back towards town in hopes of finding some medicine.
That sounds dangerous, considering the guards were looking for you.
They were searching for my mother, not... But at the moment, all that mattered was trying to get my mother well. Anyway, as I moved towards the edge of town, I was grabbed by a young man, who calmed me down and asked me to lead him to my mother. He was so kind and gentle. He tried to tend to my mother's leg, but told us he needed to get some medicine. He returned within a day, not only with medicine, but other supplies to help us stay comfortable as my mother healed. He set us up a nice tent with warm bedrolls, food and water, and took the time to remove the arrowhead from my mother's leg.
This man, was he my father?
At that moment he was too young, but yes, he became your father later in his life. He was a very kind man, and did everything he could to make sure my mother and I was well. We find out later on that he was the blacksmith's apprentice from the blade and song. He knew we were the thieves that had stolen the sword, but made no judgment. He told my mother that she must have had a good reason to steal the sword, and never once did he try to take the sword back. Instead, he mended my mother's leg till we were good enough to travel again. Mother checked up on him a few times a year from the shadows, and told me to always repay the debt to him if he ever needed it. After a while she dropped off the plans to be able to smith a royal axe. It was passed down from my grandmother, Queen Baronzier.
Is this why people have mentioned that my mother was from royalty?
Yes, it is. People started spreading this rumor because the first axe your father built was shortly after he married your mother. Anyway, years later, we had 2 people from the Thieves Guild steal the location of the plans from my locked chest. I knew that they were heading to your family's house to steal them. I spoke with Galesse, and we took off in search of them. By the time we arrived at your family's home, you were found almost dead on the floor, and we sprung into action to save you. We did all we could to save you, feeling in the end that the debt was finally repaid.
Thank you. But were the plans ever recovered for the axe?
We did recover them later on, and it feels only right for you to have them. Pass them down with your family if you ever have one.
Thank you for everything. Please give the plans to her. She's the only person I've ever trusted. We'll be seeing you again soon. Confidence is silent. Insecurities are loud. So, what now? They are all stuck up, but they do have some pull. But a woman named Pantia really gets the most pull for an audience. Nothing planned really. I just know I don't think things through all the time. Just a couple of the bards that need help, and I'm sure we'll be on their good side. All right.
So this is Nightingale Hall. I heard about this place when I joined the guild, but I never believed it existed.
The assumption that the Nightingales were just a myth was seeded within the guild.
All right.
It helped divert attention from our true nature. What's wrong, Daniel? I can almost hear you growl following me.
I'm trying to understand why I'm here, lass. I'm no priest, and I'm certainly not
Every
religious.
criminal, creature,
Why
and
pick me?
scumbag in Tamriel
This isn't
hides out
about
of these
religion.
caves. Watch your back.
It's business. This is Nightingale Hall. You're the first of the uninitiated to set foot inside.
All right.
Century. If you both proceed to the armor to don the Nightingale armor, we can begin the oath.
Oh my. I'm not gonna lie, that is fucking impressive. I have a lot of things to take care of in town.
This is enough to make your head spin, eh?
All right. All right. Oh.
You appear hesitant to don your Nightingale armor. What's troubling you?
I'm going to take a few hundred gold, so I have some drink and money for the weekend.
It's my hope that you will, yes. This isn't about religion or destiny. This is nothing more than a business transaction between yourself and Nocturnal. Consider this an extremely risky job, but with a massive potential for profit.
All right.
And you'll do fine. From the moment you were struck with my poisoned arrow at Snowvale Sanctum, my path changed its course. Perhaps I couldn't bring Mercer back alive, but together, we were able to clear my name and to put Galesse's memory to rest. I'd always intended Mercer's fate to ultimately be decided by the Guild, and it seems they've spoken. Galesse, Mercer Frey and I were once members of what's known as the Nightingale Trinity. The Trinity disbanded 25 years ago when Mercer Frey betrayed us by slaying Galesse and dumping his body in the ruins of Snowvale Sanctum. Indirectly, The Trinity is usually selected from the ranks of the Guild, although its existence is a closely guarded secret. The Nightingales protect the Temple of Nocturnal, a place known as the Twilight Sepulchre. She's the mistress of night and darkness, and the patron of every thief in Tamriel. Nocturnal isn't one for worship and reverence. There are no priests and no sermons, no services, and no alms. She influences our luck, and in return, demands payment. You're closer to understanding than you realize. The only difference is she doesn't demand payment in the traditional sense, and sometimes the cost can be quite high, whether you know it or not. Nocturnal dictates how well we perform as rogues. Again, you have to think differently. Haven't you ever noticed how our luck behaves? Like a novice picking an impossible lock, or a blind man suddenly turning to face you as you reach for his pocket. It's through these subtle means that Nocturnal influences us. Nocturnal's whim is the greatest mystery to everyone. There have been volumes written on the subject. Does she exact payment when we die? When we suffer? Does she revel in our misery? No one knows. The return certainly seems worth the risk, though. Proceed down the hall to the gate when you're ready.
Okay, lass. We've got these get-ups on. Now what?
Beyond this gate. It's the first step in becoming a Nightingale.
Whoa there, lass. I appreciate the armor, but becoming a Nightingale? That was never discussed.
To hold any hope of defeating Mercer, we must have Nocturnal at our backs. If she's to accept you as one of her own, an arrangement must be struck.
What sort of arrangement? I need to know the terms.
The terms are quite simple, Brynjolf. Nocturnal will allow you to become a Nightingale and use your abilities for whatever you wish. And in return, both in life and in death, you must serve as a guardian of the Twilight Sepulchre.
Aye, there's always a catch. But at this point, I suppose there isn't much to lose. If it means the end of Mercer Frey, you can count me in.
What about you? Are you ready to transact the oath with Nocturnal? By transacting the oath with Nocturnal, you're entering into a business deal. You'll be provided all of the power and knowledge befitting a Nightingale. You're free to use those powers as you see fit, to further your own goals, or the goals of the Thieves Guild. In return, you'll be required to defend the Twilight Sepulchre and everything within when the need arises. More importantly, upon your death, your spirit will be bound to the Twilight Sepulchre as one of its guardians. Once the oath has been struck, the terms are binding. Knowing this, are you ready to undergo the ceremony? Good. After I open the gate, please stand on the circle. I call upon you, Lady Nocturnal, Queen of Murk and Empress of Shadow. Hear my voice.
Ah, Carlia. I was wondering when I'd hear from you again. Lose something, did we?
My lady, I've come before you to throw myself upon your mercy, and to accept responsibility for my failure.
You're already mine, Carlyle. Your terms were struck long ago. What could you possibly offer me now?
I have two others that wish to transact the oath, to serve you both in life and in death.
You surprised me, Carlyle. This offer is definitely weighted in my favor.
My appetite for Mercer's demise exceeds my craving for wealth and grace.
Revenge. How interesting. Very well. The conditions are acceptable. You may proceed.
Lady Nocturnal, we accept your terms. We dedicate ourselves to you as both your avengers and your sentinels. We will honor our agreement in this life and the next until your conditions have been met.
Very well. I name your initiates Nightingale, and I restore your status to the same, Carlyle. And in the future, I'd suggest you refrain from disappointing me again.
Now that you've transacted the oath, it's time to reveal the final piece of the puzzle to you. Mercer's true crime. Mercer was able to unlock the Guild's vault without 2 keys because of what he stole from the Twilight Sepulchre. The skeleton key. By doing this, he's compromised our ties to Nocturnal, and in essence, caused our luck to run dry. Well, yes. But the key isn't only restricted to physical barriers. All of us possess untapped abilities, the potential to wield great power securely sealed within our minds. Once you realize the key can access these traits, potential becomes limitless. Good. Then you understand why this is about more than just Mercer's lust for power. If the key isn't returned to its lock in the Twilight Sepulchre, things will never be the same for the Guild. As time passed, our luck would diminish to the point of non-existence, and whether you know it or not, our uncanny luck defines our trade. Very true. In our line of work, it's quite rare we set out to return a stolen item to its rightful owner. Before we depart, Brynjolf has some business to discuss. I suggest you listen to him.
Listen, lass. There's one last piece of business we need to settle before we go after Mercer. The leadership of the Guild. Carlyle and I had a long discussion before you arrived here. Thanks to your efforts, Mercer's treachery has been exposed. After we deal with him, all that remains is restoring the Guild to its full strength. As a result, we both feel that you have the potential of replacing Mercer as leader of the Thieves Guild.
I've been at this game a long time, my friend. A long time. I've stolen trinkets from nobles and framed priests for murder. I'm good at what I do, maybe even one of the best. But it's all I know. I've never been one to lead. Never desired it, never cared for it. Don't want it. Well, we have a bit of an errand to run before your coronation, so don't get sentimental on me now.
Then it's decided. When this is all over and Delvin's contacts assure me that we've regained our footing in Skyrim, we'll handle the details. Until then, we have quite the task ahead. I've been poring over the plans you brought us, and I'm convinced the eyes of the Falmer are in the Dwarven ruins at Erkenthand. Carlyle and I will meet you there. Prepare yourself, lass. This will be a fight to remember.
If you would have asked me that yesterday, I'd have said no. But now I think our chances have improved. Look, Call me crazy if you like, but I trust Carlia. I don't think she'd lead us down a suicidal path. Besides, I'd rather die with some of Mercer's blood on my blade than spend the rest of my life regretting that I ran the other way. Aye, and some of what Carlia said is starting to make sense. Mercer may have damaged our reputation and raided our coffers, but this goes well beyond even his twisted form of larceny. Old Delvin kept calling it a curse, and we all laughed at him. Looks like the joke's on us.
With the skeleton key missing from the Twilight Sepulchre, I'm afraid Mercer's seen to it that none of us can benefit from Nocturnal's gifts. You merely transacted the oath, signed the unwritten contract with Nocturnal, in order for us to receive our abilities, our end of the bargain. I'm afraid the key must be returned. If Nocturnal was truly displeased with me, with any of us, she wouldn't have answered my call. I have no doubt that we still hold her favor, and I believe it gives us enough of an edge to defeat Mercer Frey. Yes. Now that you are a Nightingale, you may consider this your home. You'll find that this place offers many things that will help you in your endeavors, as well as a wealth of information for you to learn. Once the skeleton key has been restored to the Twilight Sepulchre, I'll make this place my home as well. I have more free time on my hands, and with that, my mind wanders all the time. It seems to wander into the gutter. How about we fuck, so I can settle my thoughts down? I've thought about you all day, and it was all nasty. I'm gonna suck your she-cock till you explode on my face.
This is not the kind of wet that I like to be. Really? Really? Yes.